Welcome to Wyoming's Health Watch. I'm Attorney Jason Ochs, and here you'll learn the most up-to-date information about dangerous drugs, dangerous products, and safety news with hopes that it just might prevent a catastrophe. Let's get started. Thank you for joining us today. I wanted to do a short video on Johnson Johnson's baby powder. This is the talcum powder. We at Ochs Law Firm have been involved in talcum powder litigation since 2015. It's been going on for quite some time. It has taken a long while for it to maneuver through the federal system, which is where the majority of the cases are venued at the moment. It started out as ovarian cancer. There had been a link established through the medical literature between exposure to talcum powder, specifically because of the asbestos contained within the talcum powder and the early onset, and in some cases late onset, of ovarian cancer with women who had routinely used talcum powder. The litigation has morphed since then. It still very much involves ovarian cancer, but it has morphed since then to include mesothelioma. Mesothelioma is an awful disease. I've tried the only mesothelioma case I know that's ever been tried in Wyoming. We tried that case in 2015 in federal court, and I had the incredible, unpleasant experience of having to do a video deposition of our client who was dying. We knew that he would not survive trial because mesothelioma was spreading throughout his lungs very quickly, and we videotaped his deposition so we could preserve it for trial. It was a heartbreaking event. I did not at all ever want to relive that event again. Nonetheless, though, we were able to capture it, and when we played his video at trial, his wife, who was there certainly, and his daughter, who was there, adult daughter, of course, became very emotional, as did I. It was a very compelling piece, and I remembered him very well. He was a stoic man, very strong man, and through no fault of his own, he had been exposed to asbestos in his job at Rock Springs and came down with mesothelioma and died, frankly, a very, very painful, awful death. Mesothelioma is a signature disease. It is only caused by asbestos, and it destroys the lungs. And after some time, you end up drowning in your own fluid in your lungs. It's an awful way to die. For years and years and years, Johnson & Johnson has taken the position that the plaintiff's lawyers in this litigation are making stuff up because there is no asbestos in their talcum powder products. That's the position they've taken time and time again. And until 2 months ago, there had been nothing outside of there was a number of medical literature articles that concluded that there was asbestos in talcum powder, including Johnson & Johnson's talcum powder. And there had also been experts hired by the plaintiffs that had also detected asbestos in Johnson & Johnson's talcum powder. But one thing that they pointed to time and time again is that the FDA, the US FDA, Food and Drug Administration, had never, ever detected asbestos in their talcum powder. However, 2 months ago they did. 2 months ago, the FDA reported that asbestos had been discovered in a certain lot of Johnson & Johnson baby powder, and they issued an immediate recall off of every shelf of every retailer in the country, any bottles associated with that lot number. It ended up being 33,000 bottles that were removed from the entire country, all over retailer shelves of Johnson & Johnson baby powder. That same day that FDA recall hit the news, if you will, I went out to our local Albertsons and I purchased this Johnson & Johnson baby powder because I was interested to see what kind of warnings they had on these particular products. Now, this one is not part of the lot. I looked for the lot that had been recalled, and thankfully at my local Albertsons I didn't find any of that specific lot number. Nonetheless, I wanted to see what they were printing on these bottles, so I'm going to read them to you. Number one, they have an explanation how to use it. To use: 1, shake powder directly into your hand, away from the face before smoothing onto the skin. Number 2, close tightly after use, store in cool, dry place. That's it. And then there's ingredients. There's number 1, talc. And then fragrance. There have been Harvard studies dating back all the way to the 1970s that linked asbestos in talc mines where talc powder is extracted from. So frankly, this is nothing new, even though it has hit the news circuit just recently because of the FDA recall. There is a warning. Let me read it to you. You determine whether this is adequate warning. Warning. Keep powder away from child's face to avoid inhalation, which can cause breathing problems. Avoid contact with eyes. For external use only. Close tightly after use. Keep out of reach of children. Do not use if quality seal is broken. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing about asbestos. There's nothing about not using it as a woman in your private areas. There's only issues about having to do with children and keeping it away from their mouth. And asbestos, ladies and gentlemen, you can't see it, you can't smell it, you can't touch it. You have no idea it's there. And so the moment that you break the seal, there's a potential that there can be asbestos in the air that you have no idea, that your baby has no idea. And asbestos is so damaging to the lungs that just even one exposure to asbestos can cause you to come down with mesothelioma. If you or your loved ones have had any exposure to Johnson Johnson baby powder, and you have been diagnosed with either mesothelioma or ovarian cancer, you need to see a doctor right away. And of course, I'm sure you have. Don't throw away your baby powder. Most people will say, get rid of it. Get rid of it in the sense that don't let anybody have access to it. Put it away somewhere where nobody can smell it, nobody can see it, nobody can do anything with it. You know, in a corner of a garage somewhere, and put it in a sealed container, like a mason jar. Put it in a mason jar and screw it on so none of that powder can get out. Because this Johnson & Johnson's baby powder that you have may be evidence exhibit A in any future lawsuit to recover for you what is due and owing because this company chose not to tell you what was contained within this baby powder product. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please share this with anybody you think it might help. Please help us prevent even one catastrophe and get the information out any way possible. If you'd like to watch this video again or any of our other videos, please go to WyomingHealthWatch.com. And please, if you have any questions, please email me through the website. I read each and every email that comes through the website, and I'd love to get back to you and provide whatever information we have on this particular product. Thank you for watching.